Good morning, everybody. Welcome along to your men's quarter-final day edition of the Coffee Morning presented by Lavazza. It was lovely yesterday, Rachel, being inside centre court. We're back home on the roof of the broadcast centre today.
I wondered where you were going with lovely. I was like, weather-wise? No, Danny, it was terrible, wasn't it? But we obviously got some great action in the form of the ladies' quarter-finals, and they got to play, of course, because they're on the show courts, Court 1 and Centre Court, which have roofs here at Wimbledon. And the men, they'll be on those courts today in their quarter-finals. But if you did have a ground pass yesterday, I think you got a little bit soggy. Take a look at this.
They brought an inflatable beanbag or an inflatable sofa of some kind and a couple of umbrellas.
That is such a good idea, that inflatable.
Yeah, well played.
Still smiling, despite the weather.
Sign.
This is so Wimbledon.
It is so Wimbledon and so English summer.
It's a very British thing, that, isn't it? No matter how bad the weather is, tennis fans still come out. That's what we like to see. Hopefully, you guys on the hill, if you're watching us, hopefully you get better weather today. Fingers crossed for you all.
And I love that they were still enjoying themselves, waving their umbrellas at the camera. Classic there, British summertime weather fans. But if you are watching on the hill today or wherever you're watching, do let us know. Send us a picture. And maybe you're at home today under a blanket, enjoying it from the warmth of your home. Not here, because at the moment the weather's okay. But I think the clouds look a bit ominous,
No,
Danny,
it's going to
they?
stay dry.
Believe
Believe more. But yesterday also, in a happy note, we had full capacity on centre and number one yesterday. The Raw, just under 15,000 people on centre court. Honestly, it sounded like 50,000. It's going to be the same today. It's going to be very loud indeed. The atmosphere was awesome.
It was great to have so many fans back yesterday. Like Danny mentioned, it was ladies' quarter-final day. And Danny, there was so much great action on the courts. Let's go to centre court first. Let's talk about the all-Aussie quarter-final. It hadn't happened since 1980, has it? Ash Barty took on Alia Tomjanovic there, and it was quite the matchup. It was built up to be quite the matchup, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think we saw why, because Ash Barty showed why she is the world number one. And it's interesting, isn't it? We've seen every time she wins the following morning, we see all the Australian broadcasters around here doing stuff into their evening news. There was one up here just as we were rehearsing, looking very happy indeed. But the two of them, they know each other really well. They're going to be at the Olympics on the Aussie Olympic team as well later this year. Ash called Alia was an awesome chick. I think was the way that she described him. So they clearly have a lot of respect for each other. They like each other a lot, but Ash Barty just a bit too good. She looks ominous.
Yeah, they're hitting partners as well, Danny. We mentioned that as well. But yeah, Ash Barty, she obviously is the world number one. She's coming here as a number one ranked seed as well. So doing what she should be doing on paper. I'm going to say she had that injury, didn't she, coming into Wimbledon. It looks like that's behind her at the moment, and she's kind of progressing or getting fitter as she's playing more matches. But
what you got to do?
Let's talk about who she's matched up against now. Angelique Kerber. It's the former junior champion, the former Ash Barty from 10 years ago now in 2011, taking on the 2018 ladies champion in the form of Kerber when she defeated Serena Williams. I'm going to say a little fact, there's something in the water for Kerber, because let's have a look about her run. On Manic Monday, she defeated Coco Gauff, didn't she, in straight sets. That's the same defeat that Simona Halep managed over Coco Gauff 2 years ago on the same day. Where did she end up in that tournament?
Well, she ended up, I think she won it. She ended up winning it, yeah.
So maybe there's something to say about that matchup.
Yeah,
but
if you're a fan of omens.
We had so many great matchups, of course, but we did say unfortunate goodbye to Ons Jabeur. She's been a trailblazer, hasn't she, this tournament?
She really has. I mean, I think the crowd here at Wimbledon have really warmed to her. I know I certainly have. I hadn't seen a great deal of her in person up until this point, but my goodness, so entertaining, so flamboyant. And it's important, I suppose, to note the impact that she's having on women's tennis.
On and off the court.
On and off the court, particularly in North Africa, in the Arab world. She was the first Arab woman to get to a quarter-final. She was the first one to get to a fourth round even, to get to the second week. She was talking about that after her match, saying that she hopes that she's doing them proud and representing my country as best as I can. And she said, I hope I'm giving the right example for all the young girls that are watching at home. I can tell you this, Ons, you are definitely doing that. I'm sure there'll be a lot of very proud people back home watching on. I'm sure she will be back. I cannot wait to see her when she comes back here next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Aryna Sabalenka, of course, defeated her, and that sets up a really nice clash for our second semi-final in the form of Karolina Pliskova and Sabalenka. Again, I'm going to say possibly like the one that not many people will be watching as much, because there's no champion in that matchup. They're both getting to a semi-final at a slam for the first time in their career. And Pliskova, again, she's kind of, I'm going to say, gone under the radar a little bit, but she's yet to drop a set. She's got 40 aces so far in the tournament, and she's got a massive serve, 115 miles an hour at its top speed. So again, she really is one that we should be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you were talking up the other semi-final, I mean, this one is equally as exciting, I think, for me. I mean, Aryna Sabalenka has been talked up before this tournament as maybe being the best player on tour who's never won a Grand Slam. Yeah. And she's talked as well about how she never believed that she would make the second round. She'd never got past round 4, had she? Made the second week though this time. She's been working a lot with a psychologist to try and deal with the pressure, and she said it's helped her so much. And she said, yeah, never believed I'd make second week. And here she is in the semi-final. She's maybe two wins away from her very first Grand Slam win. I'm looking forward to that one. That's
why you get a psychologist, Danny. They give you the belief that you need to progress through these Grand
Slams. I might get
one
after this as well. I think it's worked that well for her.
I think you're doing okay. But let's have a little bit of a chat about maybe the standout star from this fortnight so far, Emma Raducanu. Yeah. Unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to her when she had the walkover, didn't she, by Alia Tomljanovic a couple of nights ago now, and we didn't really know how she was feeling after that one, but she did actually put a statement out on Instagram and gave an exclusive interview as well to one of the TV channels here in the UK, the BBC. But this is what she said, Danny.
Yeah, she seemed like she was doing all right, but she wanted to let everybody know, feeling much better this morning. She was playing the best tennis of her life, she said, in front of an amazing crowd this week. I think the whole experience just caught up with me. She's feeling a bit dizzy, she said, and the medical team recommended that she didn't carry on. But she did say she will cherish everything we've achieved together this week and come back stronger, and that I'm sure she will do.
Yeah, and a load of people as well on social media were messaging her and giving her loads of words of encouragement as well. In particular, Marcus Rashford, he said actually the same sort of thing happened to him when he was playing under 16s for England against Wales, and he kind of goes on to saying, don't worry, I'm sure everyone's behind you and you'll come back stronger than ever before. Judy Murray,
of course,
she messaged her as well, and then it was great to see Emma actually getting back on social media, because we said last week she gave her phone to her osteopath of all people, but it seemed like she got it back and was replying to a lot of different people, the Gallaghers, I think it was the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. So
that's two ends of a spectrum.
She was, I'm sure, when she got the phone, was like, oh my goodness, look at what has happened.
This is the thing, she's been in the bubble the whole time, hasn't she? Not had a phone, had no real contact with the outside world. I don't really know if she really realised how big a story she was, how popular she was becoming here in Britain, but I'm sure she does now, and we wish her all the best, and I'm fairly sure it will not be the last we see of her at Wimbledon. No, exactly. You definitely can't have missed Emma Raducanu, that is for sure. But there was loads of stuff happening here at Wimbledon yesterday. You may have missed some of it, but that's why we have this little video for you right now.
Oh, what a pass! That beautiful single-handed backhand on display.
Good court from Gulovic.
Juice.
They're taking a leaf out of Federer's book with that backhand cross-court pass.
Stop
it!
Caught the back of the baseline. Extraordinary return. Stepping almost outside the doubles court to play that. There you go.
That has a high degree of difficulty. You're taking a shot that has tremendous power from Sabalenka and diffusing it with accuracy and backspin.
Beautiful. Wow. On the run, full stretch, off the shoelaces, top spin forehand lob.
Well, right now,
power is overcoming trickery and guile.
That's just ridiculously good. Again, I would stay away from that backhand. She flips defense into offense so well with that backhand. And it's all the right hand doing the work.
That is another, I mean, that is...
I mean, just watch this. At this moment here, what's he going to do? He's going to go down the line, isn't he?
That, I mean, I would have put all my... anything on that they were going to lose that point from that return.
Wow.
Oh, plenty of artistic merit on show on the courts and plenty off it as well, Rachel.
Yeah, totally. We've actually had loads of people sending in different pictures they've created over the past week. We've had some pencil drawings of centre court. We even had someone making centre court out of sand. We had a sand sculpture, didn't we? Tweet us in exactly what he'd made. But actually now we have something a little bit different coming all the way from an artist in California, Amelia Noyes. She's done some digital artwork, which we're going to get to see on screen right now. So it's animating for us in this picture, Danny, and it's obviously going to kind of reveal a certain tennis player. But I love that we don't get to see who it is just yet because the tennis ball is covering the picture on screen. Oh, reveal away, but there's still no face. Steffi Graf, of course.
Yeah, it's interesting, is that Amelia tries to prove that there is more to people than just a face. All of her art, there's no face on the people that she's depicting. As
that was kind of animating on, would you have guessed it was Steffi Graf?
Oh, do you know what? I think that was quite tricky. Maybe the T-shirt would have given it away, possibly. But,
possibly. I don't think I'd have got that. Maybe I'm just going to say she wasn't particularly my era. But, Danny, that got us thinking we should get you guys at home to get involved in this because we have another picture that we're going to show you right now, which is going to animate. And we're not going to show you the face until the end of the show. Yeah. This is tough. Danny, we know who it is, though. We thought it was tough when we got to see it first up this morning. Danny, clues on who you think this is, or for the viewers to kind of guess who this is, because we do know.
Yes, well, a couple of clues for you then. So I'll tell you that this is somebody that we've seen on the courts here at SW19 this year. They have been in action.
128 people, that could be.
There you go, that narrows it down straight away. And look, maybe, what's that, a little behind the back shot going on there? Cheeky. Maybe someone a little bit flamboyant. I'm going to stop there before I give it away. But if you think you know who it is, stick your answer in the comments down below and we'll see how many we can get through at the end of the show, and we'll give you the answer, I promise, before we are off air today. Yes, absolutely. But before we get into that, we're going to show you everything you may have missed if you didn't have your eyes on the tennis yesterday. Here it is.
The second Tuesday, and it's a full house here on centre court today for the first time. I bet the sandwiches are still dry.
Wow, it's like a umbrella bunker. Did she get the ball back?
Love 15.
She got the ball back.
She got the ball back, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll replay the point.
Yeah, it's changed it.
Kerber standing there as love 15. Yeah, she got the ball back. That was not a minute.
I'm not sure I've seen a shot at this year's Wimbledon hit with more nonchalance.
Oops, she's hit her partner there. Smiling about it.
Well, I think it's funny because the very last match, I think Katie had hit Coco in the back of the head.
Well, Sherlock Holmes enjoyed it.
That smarts.
And everybody's laughing.
It's
but
not
it's
funny.
Not funny.
Oh, that was.
And maybe they'll laugh about it tonight. But look at this.
Oh.
Boom.
So So much happening yesterday and still so much to come today as well, because it's men's quarter-finals day. We have Adam Hunt here to give us a little rundown of what to expect from those 4 matches. Adam, how are you doing, firstly?
Good. It's not raining, which, given the week and a half we've had so far, is a bonus. We're winning so far.
Absolutely. Well, let's start on centre court then first, because that kicks off at 1:30 today. We've got Djokovic taking on Fucsovics first. What do you make of that on the Hungarian? The first time he's been into a quarterfinal. First time a Hungarian's been into a quarterfinal.
Yeah, he had a really good junior career and he hasn't quite lived up to, I think, the expectations so far. He's been a very solid tour player, but not quite at this level, you know, getting through to the quarterfinals of the Grand Slam. But he produced a brilliant performance in the last round against Andrei Rublev. I don't think anyone expected him to win that. They'd played 4 times previously, I think, on tour this year, and Rublev had won all of them. I think only one player has won more matches this year on the ATP Tour than Andrei Rublev. So a brilliant performance from Fucsovics to come through that match. And his reward is playing Novak Djokovic on centre court. I mean, Djokovic is the overwhelming favourite. He's the overwhelming favourite to win the tournament. And I can't really see that he's going to struggle too much with Fucsovics. Fucsovics, though, he's a powerful baseline player. He's quite fearless. He'll certainly go for it. And he might get a set, but Djokovic has just looked brilliant. And I think as other players, other seeds have dropped out, the likes of Medvedev, Rublev, some of those players he might have been a bit worried about facing have already gone.
Can Fucsovics, though, draw on anything from the fact that he was Wimbledon junior champion here in 2009? Can he kind of go back to that day and go, well, I was champion here at one point in my career?
Well, as I said, he had a good junior career, not just winning here, but he played well on all of the surfaces. So that will give a player confidence. You know, he knows how to win on grass courts here at Wimbledon. There's been quite a lot of water under the bridge since then. That was a little while ago. But yeah, I mean, I think he could win a set. You know, we've seen Djokovic drop 1 set already here. It was the first set he played against Jack Draper, the young British player, in the first round. So I think if Fucsovics wins a set, that would be seen as perhaps a success today, because Djokovic is, the way he's moving, you know, he's just imperious.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's continue on centre court. Federer taking on Khachanov, the Pole there, who actually had to kind of battle it out yesterday, didn't he, to make his way through to the quarterfinal. And Federer did joke, didn't he, that these guys don't have a rest day, but that shouldn't faze the youngsters.
No, they didn't play too much yesterday. I don't think it'll make too much of an impact on this match. I mean, Federer is the favourite against Khachanov, but it was a brilliant performance from him, especially given the fact that that match was carried over, because it meant that, we were talking about it yesterday on the Wimbledon channel, it gives both teams, you know, their coaches, the backroom staff, with the player an opportunity to say, right, you were doing too much of this, or don't do that anymore. And even with that, he was able to beat Daniil Medvedev. It was a really mature performance, and I think his best performance of the year, because we saw him really break out on the tour about a year and a half ago, just before the pandemic started. You know, COVID came at the wrong time really for him, because he was on that upward momentum and the tour stopped and he wasn't really able to continue that. But when he came back, he's not had the most successful results compared to what he's done this week. So he's produced some brilliant tennis. And Daniil Medvedev, number 2 seed, a lot of people were saying, if you're not picking Djokovic, who's going to win the title? A lot of people were saying Medvedev. So hats off to Khachanov. It was a great performance.
And Khachanov also said that he's now got experience on centre court, because people can be phased by going out on centre court as well. So he said maybe that will play into his hands.
It makes a huge difference. We talk about it all the time. The difference between playing on the outside courts or the smaller show courts and playing on centre and court 1 is huge. Even for a player who's, you know, high up in the rankings, if they haven't done it that often, it just looks different, it sounds different, particularly if the roof's on. The sound of the racket onto the ball, the way that the crowd cheers, it echoes all around. There's even just more space behind the baseline, which can give you, you know, I remember we were talking to Mark Woodford, the great doubles player. What was it like the first time I walked out on centre? And he was like, I couldn't believe how big it was. And he was just talking about the court. So he's got over that now. And he's up against Roger Federer, and Federer's looked at, you know, he's improved throughout the tournament, but he has looked a bit shaky. He didn't play particularly well in his first round match. Cameron Norrie had a chance against him as well. So this isn't the Federer we saw at Wimbledon maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Still looking for his 21st slam though. Of course, let's move on to court number 1. We've got Karen Khachanov taking on Denis Shapovalov, which is quite a tasty matchup there. The young Canadian who obviously knocked out Andy Murray earlier on in the tournament. He's been having the tournament so far of his career. Yeah,
he's doing so well, and I think he's drawn so much confidence from that win against Andy Murray. The crowd, they warm to him. Beating Andy Murray on centre court's never a good thing if you're not a British player.
It is when you then go, Andy Murray's my hero.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Some of the things he said in the interview, the way he behaved, the crowd start to like him, and I think he's become a lot of people's second player here that they're supporting after perhaps their favourite. And he drew so much confidence from that match, because I think the question mark that's always been over his head is when the going gets tough, sometimes he gets a bit nervous. He's not played well in the past in big matches where the pressure's been on. He's lost his serve, and that's affected him. But I think beating Andy Murray on centre court in front of that crowd when everything was against him has given him confidence. And in the last match against Roberto Bautista Agut, who is a tough player, we saw him get to the semis a couple of years ago. He just doesn't miss. He's like a brick wall. He was able to bring an amazing level of tennis and win in straight sets, and he just keeps getting better and better. Khachanov had to come through a huge 5-setter. It was wowing everyone just behind us against Sebastian Korda. They couldn't hold serve in the final set. I mean, that was ridiculous. 13 breaks of serve. You never see that on the men's tour. So his serve's going to have to be a lot better against Shapovalov, who returns really well because he's a lefty.
The final quarter-final as well. Maybe my one that if I could go and watch a match today, I'd possibly go and do so. Matteo Berrettini taking on Felix Auger-Aliassime, of course, another young Canadian as well. I think Berrettini has only dropped one set, the same as he did at Queen's, so possibly keeping him in good stead for that one, Adam?
Yeah, in terms of form players on the grass, hard to look past Berrettini. I mean, he won Queen's, played brilliantly there, and he's kept that form going. And grass is one of those surfaces, similar to clay, where once you get in on it, it's easy to keep it rolling, because it isn't a surface that the players play on that much, particularly with the pandemic. Some of these players came into Wimbledon having not played on grass much for 2 years. So he's been able to keep his form going. Felix Auger-Aliassime, similar to Shapovalov, I think, has drawn so much confidence from that victory over Alexander Zverev. It was a battle between two of the hottest young prospects. Two of them hadn't won Grand Slams. A lot of people expecting that perhaps they would win their first Grand Slam soon. And Auger-Aliassime, he's got so many weapons. He's a physical specimen, moves so well. I think that of all of the matches, that's the one that could really go the distance. It's hard to tell between those two, Berrettini and Felix Auger-Aliassime.
And actually, Danny Jamieson, who's just stepped out of shot, he told me that Berrettini and Aliassime, their girlfriends are cousins. So they must mean they know each other pretty well.
And they both live in Monaco, in Monte Carlo. I think they spend time at each other's apartments.
That's a good or a bad thing, Adam, that is.
Exactly. So they know each other quite well. And it'll be interesting to see how their friendship off the court affects the match on it.
Well, we have to obviously put friendship and family aside for this quarter-final. Adam, thank you so much for giving us your little run through this morning. But guys, you might be aware now, I've spoken about it quite a lot, that I'm a fan of gardening. Well, that's why I went to catch up with the head gardener here at the All England Club, Martin Faulconer, to give me a little tour around the grounds. I'm very pleased to say I'm joined by the head gardener here at the All England Club, Martin Faulconer. He's been a gardener here now for 22 years. Martin, it all comes together, doesn't it, on this fortnight? And when you look around at how beautiful it is, how does it make you feel?
Yeah, extremely proud of my team. They work really hard. We're nine full-time gardeners all year, so it's not just about to build up to the champs. We're here all the time, making sure everything looks pristine for tours, members. So yeah, really proud, and it all comes, like you say, hopefully it all comes together at the right time.
You might be able to see the living wall, obviously near centre court where the big screen is. How big is that, and how much effort goes into your team creating something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's nearly 250 square metres in both together, so that is pretty much the same size as a playing surface of a tennis court if you wanted to kind of take it off and lay it down on the floor. So plenty of hard work, but reap the rewards. It does look amazing. There's nearly 14,000 plants in that wall.
Super English country garden feel. That's what you're always going for, I know, but Martin's got a few places he wants to take us on a tour too. So we're off to the members entrance, I believe, next to see what that looks like. So follow us. So that is where the men's and the ladies' champions will lift the trophies come this weekend. And I'm with Martin now, just outside centre court, because I'm going to say this is probably the most photographed area of the championship, because everybody will be taking pictures of the champions here. So I wanted to get your take on what exactly planted behind you.
Yeah, there's a bit of everything planted in this bed, and like you say, it's everyone's down watching the trophies being shown on the balcony above us. So we've got everything from hydrangeas to large salvias at the back, try and get a bit of height. It's not a very wide bed, so we need to try and get some height there. But yeah, it's probably the showiest bed of the whole place, I would have thought, one of them.
Do you draw a plan, mock up a plan beforehand of the beds and kind of pencil in where each plant should go?
Not really. It's all up there. But no, we get it, and we just play around with colours, textures, leaf shape, and we will just literally do it on the go.
Martin, are you going to take us somewhere else as well?
Yeah, we'll go down to Gate 5 and have a look at the feature.
Guys, follow us. Well, the guests are really treated as soon as they walk into the grounds. This is Gate 5, and look what they're welcomed to here. But Martin, I want to just talk about numbers. How many thousands of plants do you have to order?
Quite a lot. So in the annuals, which are the petunias you see around in the hanging baskets and around centre court, there's roughly about 30,000. And then there's an additional kind of 19,000-ish plants that come in, which is all your hydrangeas and everything else we do in all the displays. So a fair bit.
Yeah, a fair bit indeed. Well, we have one more stop as well on Martin's little garden tour, so follow us for the last time. I know a player who actually might quite like some plants. Madison Keys apparently really got into gardening during the pandemic. And I was going to say she's on tour quite a lot, Martin, so probably can't water all her plants. Any plants that she could get which are pretty hardy?
There's a few. She could go plastic, but I wouldn't advise it. But yeah, no, lots. Depends whereabouts in the States she is, because obviously it could be really hot. But yeah, go with sedums, but plastic if all else fails.
Wasn't possibly the answer we were looking for there. The head gardener, Martin Faulconer, telling Madison Keys she should buy plastic flowers. Martin, it's beautiful as always. Thank you so much for giving us a little tour around your garden.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think if Madison Keys is watching that, she's going to go, really? You told me to go and buy plastic flowers. That's not helpful. She's obviously got into gardening during the pandemic and has spent a lot of time trying to perfect her gardening tips. And Martin says that. Anyway, Danny.
To be fair, that's the kind of gardening that I can get behind.
It's not gardening, though, is it? That's my point. Plastic flowers does not mean you're a gardener. Anyway, guys at home, if you are gardeners or fans of gardening, then let us know what your garden looks like. Does it rival the gardens here at SW19?
Ooh,
possibly not, because it's so beautiful here, but we'd like to see anyway. So yeah, find us on socials and use the hashtag Wimbledon thing.
I put a quiz out, didn't we, a little bit earlier in the show? Could you identify this tennis player? We obscured the face, didn't we? Had lots of people get in touch with who they thought it was.
I think it was really tough, actually. So if you did get the correct answer, and a few of you did,
yep.
Danny, are you going to reveal?
Well, shall we say there were a lot of people that thought it was Pete Sampras. I saw someone say it was Gail Monfils, which is those two don't really look alike, but I can see where they were coming from. But very well done to loads of you did get it right. So well done, Andrew Brown, Cecily Murray, Christina Molnar. All of you managed to get it right because it was
Nick Kyrgios. Of course, I think you possibly gave it away, Danny, when you said the kind of cheeky behind the back shot. You said he was quite a flamboyant character as well, didn't you?
This is true.
Nick Kyrgios, unfortunately, he isn't still in the competition. I think he's now flown to the Bahamas.
I don't
Lucky
blame
for him.
I mean, to be fair, people may not have recognised him because he's wearing shoes.
Yeah,
in that picture, isn't he? The last time we saw him, he forgot his shoes when he was coming out onto court, but never mind.
Classic Nick Kyrgios, and that's exactly why we love him being here at Wimbledon, of course. But Danny, we're nearly out of time. Where are you heading to today? What are you trying to watch?
Well, I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to get into #1, I think, today, because I'm very excited, as you were saying, for Matteo Berrettini's match. He's someone that I really enjoy playing. I think that could be possibly the best of the quarterfinals in terms of quality of tennis. I can very easily see that going 5 sets.
I'm just hoping he's not too exhausted after watching the match
with
his girlfriend yesterday and living every moment with her. We saw that. We've seen a couple of gifs flying around as well of how he gets into the matches. My parents are here today.
Oh, fantastic.
So they're on centre court. They're very excited to watch.
What a day to have centre court tickets.
They were frantically trying to refresh the page yesterday, like I'm sure all of you guys were, because it's so popular to come down here for any day, but especially men's quarterfinal day. So I'm going to go and say hello to them. And yeah, that's it from us today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching on the Hill or wherever you have been watching from all around the world. And we are back here, same time, same place, tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. BST.
Absolutely. You can follow, remember, all of the action on the Wimbledon channel and on Wimbledon Radio. You can access both of those on the Wimbledon smartphone app, which is very good. Get it downloaded. You've only got a few days left of the fortnight to get it downloaded. But you can follow all of the action there wherever you are in the world. But until then, that's all from us. We'll see you same time, same place, right on the roof here tomorrow morning. Goodbye.